So we were at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We got some great audio for you here. What I want to talk about now is Duran Duran, because they inducted Roxy Music into the hall. And like I said, we were all over the place. You can see all the photos and some of the Facebook Lives and things that we did up at WEHM.com. Just click on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame picture when you see it come up on the main slider there. A lot of fun there. But we were in the back. We were kind of collecting some audio and stuff when Duran Duran was out on stage and they were delivering the induction speech for Roxy Music, and I just vaguely heard them mention LIR, and I got so excited. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what they said about LIR. And I have a clip of that for you here right now. Don't forget that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be on HBO coming up April 27th. HBO Go, HBO, and HBO On Demand. Details and info at WEHM.com. Here's a portion of Duran Duran talking during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This is the speech that you will see on TV, and then I will play for you what we talked about in the press room afterwards, which you will not see on that broadcast.
And of course, I'm always proud to say that without Roxy Music, there really would be no Duran Duran. For sure. Sad but true. Along the way, in the early 80s, we were inadvertently able to introduce Roxy to our young American audience. When radio stations like WLIR would play, would play both bands back to back.
And that's very true. I mean, it was sort of that situation where Roxy inspired Duran Duran, and then Duran Duran hits huge. And then they sort of kind of in their draft, pulled Roxy Music back into the fold. And it was stations like LIR that was able to put together both of those bands, which nobody was really doing prior to that moment. Again, the greatness of LIR and those original programmers, Dennis and everybody over there, they were the ones who really sort of created that genre of, new wave or whatever you wanted to call it. But it was really a mixing of a lot of different types of music and making it okay to have it all on one station. And kudos to the guys in Duran Duran for shouting them out during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Bringing that to the national stage, I just thought that was really cool. Any recognition of our little LIR here on the island is a nice thing to have. Obviously, they're getting a lot of it now because of the documentary, which I liked. I thought stopped short of LIR's entire picture. They kind of paused pre-90s around that era, but I feel like there was more to that LIR story to tell. But aside from that one little criticism, I thought, they did a wonderful job on that documentary piece. And I'm loving all the attention that LIR is getting. So anyway, once they were done and Roxy Music went on to perform, after all that kind of hoopla happens, they all come back to the press room where we had our EHM table, and we were able to ask them some questions. And the call out to LIR came up, and the boys in Duran Duran addressed it again.
Before MTV, it was LIR. There was KROQ on the West Coast. To be able to, when we first came here, we were able to. We played the Ritz. I think the third day that we were in America, and we had an audience. We walked on stage, and we had fans, and that was because of LIR. There was nothing else. There was no other medium. There was no other way that you could hear cutting-edge English music other than on really a handful of radio stations that would become the college radio network. By sort of 82, 83, there was an LIR in every major city. But at the beginning, at the end, 81, that was it. I think there was, and there was somewhere in Cleveland, but really, they were fantastic. We're very grateful to them.
That's just amazing. I mean, that was just so cool. It was John and Simon there at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So that was John speaking, and to have that honor to be the ones to bring in Roxy Music into the hall, and all these years later, being in the hall and just being able to be like, LIR, that's where it all started. I mean, that's amazing. And it really was. It was deservingly so, because you just didn't come to the States and expect to play to sold out crowds, but you were able to because of what LIR provided. And then once LIR caught and took off, like John says there was this sort of expansion of that format to other places in the country. So they sort of broke out right around that same time. And then you have MTV sort of following suit, again, playing all genres for the most part, not as in-depth as they probably should have, but, you know, they did spread it around. It wasn't like it was just classic rock or just metal. You know, it was pop music, and it was a lot of different things that gave these bands that opportunity. Prior to that, the bands didn't, they didn't come from England with this huge following unless they were able to get some of that big radio play, and unless you sort of fit in that mold of, 2.5 minute song, you didn't get that radio play, so you didn't have that following. But Duran Duran had it because of LIR, and for them to continue to thank them for that all these years later at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I just think that's really awesome. I just think that is really, really cool. There you go. We have more still to come on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony audio, again, that you're not going to really get to hear anywhere else. Stay tuned to WEHM.com and to the Morning Show vlogs and the Morning Show with Anthony podcast. All the links at WEHM.com. And again, don't forget, you can catch the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony on HBO, April 27th. HBO, HBO Go, and HBO On Demand. Go to HBO.com for more info.